Oh hi, so we were discussing critical reasoning strategy questions.
Yeah, so let's have a look at those 6 types of questions.
Just before we begin, how difficult are these critical reasoning questions?
Not very difficult. They are medium level difficulty, and first 3 types of questions are easier, and
so these ones you are saying are easier.
And the last 3 types of questions are considered to be more difficult.
It's
said that once you cross 600 or 640, then you see these types of questions.
Okay.
So let's begin. So strengthening questions, weakening questions, assumption questions you also see under strengthening category.
So the assumptions are a part of the
strengthening questions.
Okay.
Then undermine is a part of weakening question.
Undermining.
Yes.
So you have to undermine
the conclusion.
The conclusion.
Yes.
Okay.
And for the description question, they are also sometimes called method of reasoning questions.
Method of reasoning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the parallel reasoning is also called mimic the reasoning or similar reasoning.
Mimic the reasoning or similar reasoning.
Yes, and paradox are also called discrepancy questions.
Discrepancy.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's move.
So only these 6 types can come? Nothing else?
Yes. You know, they sometimes change the language of the questions, but they all come under these 6 types of questions.
So what is more important for these questions, knowledge or practice?
Both.
Both.
You need to first of all, identify the type of question, and you should also know how to deal with that particular type of question, and then practice does actually. So when you practice, you will be able to identify the question more easily.
So we did that counter positives.
Those things come under inference questions.
They are inference based questions.
Some are, some are not. They all of them come under inference questions.
Perfect. So let's go a little further.
Yes. Okay, so this is a strengthening question.
Okay.
We'll begin with how to identify the type of question. So basically, the strengthening question asks you to support the conclusion.
Right.
So these are the trigger words that you can that can help you identify the type of question: strengthening, support, assumption, evaluate the argument. These all tell you that this type of question is a strengthening question.
So this will come in the stem.
Yes.
The question
the words,
that is
yes, these are the trigger words, and they'll come in the stem. Now you know that you first have to read the question stem. So after you read the question stem, you find these words. Now you know you're facing the strengthening question, as in it is shown here.
Yeah.
Like which of the following, if true, would most strengthen the argument?
Yeah.
So you know this is strengthen. Which of the following, if true, most strongly supports?
This would be again a strengthening.
And the assumption.
Assumption.
So now you know that you're facing a strengthening question.
So as soon as a student says, okay, strengthen, it's strengthening, support. Any
trigger word like justify, assumption, evaluate. So
for example, is there any question where there would be a strengthen but it would not be a strengthen? So that just to confuse the students.
No, there will be a word like support, but it will not be a support question. It will be an infer question. That is, if it is support from above, then it's an infer question. But if the support is from below, then it's an infer.
That's very important.
We'll discuss that.
Okay, we'll discuss that. So we'll discuss the word support.
Yes, we'll discuss
in
the
detail.
Word. Yes.
Okay, great.
So like if we say it says support the statement above, so that means support is above.
Yeah.
Right?
Understood.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that if the question says, the stem says support the above, it basically means that you have to strengthen the whole argument. And if it says support below, then it's an inference from the thing.
Definitely.
Perfect.
Okay. So now when you understood that the type of question is a strengthening question, your focus has to be on the conclusion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So your answer is a premise.
Yes.
That is a new information. This is what you have to understand.
Okay.
For strengthening question, any answer choice that you choose is a new information and it supports the conclusion.
You'll have to repeat this. So what you're saying again is?
When you understood the type of question is a strengthening question.
Yes.
Keep your focus on the conclusion.
Okay.
And your answer is a premise.
Okay.
You can write it down if you want. Focus is on conclusion.
Your focus should be on conclusion.
Right. And your answer is a premise.
And your answer is a premise.
Right. So your answer is a premise. That means it's a new information.
It's new information.
Which is not already given and it supports the conclusion. New information which supports.
Not already given and would support
the conclusion.
The conclusion.
So this is what you have to keep in mind when you attack a strengthening question.
Okay, so you have to focus on the conclusion. You have to answer the premise.
Your answer is a
premise.
Yeah, and that is a new information.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if we go to the next slide, let's see if we have a question there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this.
Okay.
Now, what is your job to do first when you see a critical reasoning question?
We have to read the
question stem first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which of the following best supports the author's conclusion?
So the word is support.
Yes, support. And which of the following?
Yeah.
So it basically is talking of strengthening the question.
Yes. So it basically talks about the conclusion. So when you do this, your job is to find the conclusion.
Conclusion first.
Yes. So read the stimulus and find the conclusion.
Yeah. The question is: the Gold Symphony Orchestra has suffered a steady decline in concert attendance. Not enough younger people are tending to compensate for the decrease in older concert goers, any of whom are either no longer able to attend performance or have died.
Right.
Well, that's unfortunate. The best way to reverse this decline is to program works by young composers rather than the overplayed stars of the last few centuries.
Alright, so let's break it down. We have here that what it says is that the conclusion is that we have to reverse the decline.
Absolutely.
And how does it say we can do that?
It is by making younger composers perform.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I have to support it?
Yes, so we have to support this.
This portion.
The best way to reverse decline is to program works by young composers rather than the overplayed stars of the last few centuries.
It says because we do not have the younger composers, therefore young people do not go there. So if we want to reverse the decline, we have to make young composers.
Absolutely. So I just put that again. Young people are not going to concerts.
Yes. So to reverse this decline?
To reverse this, you need younger composers performing.
So there is a missing link somewhere and we have to find that missing link.
Yes.
Let's read the choices one by one.
Younger audience would rather spend discretionary income on orchestra performance rather than other cultural events.
Okay.
Younger audience would rather spend discretionary income on orchestra performance. That is not going to help in reversing the thing. So
it's nowhere related to the conclusion.
No.
Okay. This is also what you have to keep in mind is also this is a new information which is relevant to the conclusion.
Yeah.
So this is not relevant to the conclusion.
It's not relevant.
Okay. Choice B.
Younger people are not more interested in the musical works of composers from earlier centuries than on living composers.
Okay.
Could be true.
So we keep it.
Okay. Performance by orchestra cannot be viewed on television or downloaded for viewing on a computer.
Does it have anything?
It has no impact whatsoever on the question.
So
other symphony orchestra have increased concert attendance by changing their programs to reflect the interest of a younger audience. Maybe, but it does.
So you can also keep it if you want to.
Yeah, we can keep it, but it does not directly reflect what we're trying to support. Older concert goers generally have a greater interest in the music of composers from the last few centuries than the music of contemporary composers. I think it's not going to strengthen our...
Yes, the thing is why we eliminate this choice is because it talks about old concert goers. So we're talking about young people. Yeah, so we're not interested in that.
Yes.
So we have to choose between choice B and D. Now why choice D is not the right choice? Because it says other symphony orchestras have increased concert attendance by changing their program to reflect the interest of a younger audience. But it did not tell us what is the interest of the younger audience.
Yes, so and neither it's saying that young composers are being introduced.
Did not, yes.
So it's not strengthening what we're trying to say.
Basically, this is only the interest of the young audience which will strengthen the conclusion. So this is not my choice. So
it's good but not good enough.
Yes.
So we'll just put a cross here.
Right. So now why B is the right choice? It says younger people are not more interested in the musical work of composers from earlier centuries than on living composers. If you remember the strategy which says negate strategy.
Right.
So if we negate it here, so we say young people are more interested.
Absolutely.
Right. So if they are more interested, then it undermines my conclusion.
Yes, so and it's also supporting what we're trying to say. That the best way to reverse decline is to program works by young composers.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if I negate it, it undermines that, therefore I'm on the right choice.
Absolutely.
Understood how we do this strengthening question?
Understood.
Let's move to the next question.
Okay. So should we do that in the next video?
Let's do that in the next video.
Great.